the mic on Sunday nights presenting you with 2020 Visions. So join us this day and every Sunday night with the Mirror the Songstress on Blog Talk Radio, a for sure way to start your week off right. 2020 Visions on Drip the Mic.
It's Amira the Songstress. No regret. You're tapped into 2020 Vision on Drip the Mic Network. All is well. Stay focused. Yes. Let's get things together around here. All right. Can I see myself, Tony? I can't see myself. How y'all feeling out there? How y'all doing? 2020 Vision is on here. I think we're ready. Things a little different today, but I think we're ready. I'm so excited today. Got a good show for you guys. I have one of my favorite people back in the house with me, Mandisa, the spiritual guides. The spiritual guide. You know, I don't know what's going on right now. I'm so excited. I think things are. You know what? This is a spiritual. Today is all about spirituality and just uplifting and energy. And it wouldn't be an energy filled day without all kinds of things going on. So I think the spirit and the energy, they gonna have a good time with us today. We never know what's gonna happen. It's everything is popping off. Okay. So, like I was trying to say, I have my spiritual guide back in here with me, Mandisa. I'm so glad to have her back. She's going to be sharing a reading that she did on me with us. And I'll be sharing a reading that I did for her with you guys. So that's going to be good. And then we have Tony. He is a Renaissance man over here as well. He is the owner of UBN Studios, as well as he has his own podcast called Truth Be Told, and it's about the paranormal and conspiracy theory. So he's going to jump in the conversation. This is going to be a good one, you guys. We're going higher today, as I said. We're going higher. Grab your popcorn, your glass of wine, your whatever you need to get in the mood. Get it right. And if you're tuned into Facebook, you can watch us live there at Amira the Songstress. If you're tuned into YouTube, you can watch us live at Amira the Songstress. And you are tuned into Drip the Mic Network, 2020 Vision, and that call-in number is 646-378-0355. But, first I want to give some shout-outs. Yes, I want to acknowledge some people, some things that I've seen over my week. Instagram, this is the way we're doing a lot of communicating and connecting with each other. We've always used Instagram for this, but it's even more important to us in this moment in our history, and we're able to meet up with each other and explore each other and connect with each other. And so there's an artist named One. There's an artist named One, and he has a song called Shivery. Shivery Ain't Dead. And I love it because that's near and dear to my heart. I still like my doors opened, and, I still like the man to do the heavy lifting. So he was saying Shivery is not dead, and he wrote a song about it. So I have just a small clip. I just want you guys to check this out. Yes, so check him out. Shivery Ain't Dead. Check him out on YouTube. He's under One. You spell the word O-N-E, One. Shout outs to him. And, we trying to keep ourselves entertained, and, we're inviting each other into each other's home via YouTube, and, Facebook and TikTok. So I've been on TikTok lately. I've been enjoying myself just watching. I've only made one video so far. I'm gonna get it together though. I'm gonna totally get it together, and I'm gonna make some more videos. But in the meantime, I've been enjoying myself. So I saw this video. Shout out to Michaela Matthews. I'm all over your story, honey, because you got the babies, and I always got baby fever. So check this out. Matter of fact, I think it's like a huge message in this little video. But check this out.
Play. Please, open your eyes. Open your eyes.
Give that up for Michaela Matthews for posting that. That baby said, "Why don't you wake up so we can play? Please, open your eyes." It's such a message. Please. Open your eyes. Wake up so we can play, you guys. Wake up. Wake up. It's time to wake up. Pop that third eye open, baby. Wake up so we can play and create in this world. Wake up so we can move this world along. Wake up so we can evolve. Wake up so we can play, Anyway, the next shout out is to Olina Utai. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. I try so hard to get these names right. I like my name to be pronounced right, so I hope I am pronouncing it right. Olina Utai, she was also on America's Got Talent, and she does The Call of the Shaman. It is very interesting. I love it. It's music still. It is spiritual, it's uplifting, and it's nature. Like the birds and horses. Anyway, take a look at this. Take a look at this clip. Just a few seconds. So you guys can go on YouTube and check that out. Olina Utai. She is amazing. She is an amazing goddess. So I like it. I just see things throughout my week, and I want to shout them out and tell you guys about my week. That's my way of doing it. Okay. I want to move on to the show. I'm so excited about it. This one is, again, one of my favorite subjects, spiritual release. What's in a name? A spiritual awakening, spiritual experience, spiritual surrender, spiritual connection, love, which is everything. Did you know that energy cannot be killed nor destroyed? Oh, so you knew that, right? Did you also know that your loved ones that has passed away energy still exists? Did you know their energy still exists? Did you know that we're all connected to one source that is God? If you knew that, then wouldn't we connect with God and our loved ones simultaneously in a very similar fashion? After all, who or what do you think you're tapped into when you're praying? Well, let's explore that. And to do so, I brought my friend, the spiritual guide, Mandisa, and Tony from Truth Be Told, along with me to explore while we're on this spiritual journey on 2020 Vision. This is Spiritual Release Edition. Hit it. Image is everything. It's where creation starts.
Welcome to the doorway of your vortex.
What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? How big would you play?
The two most powerful words in the English language are I am. Because what comes after I am will shape your life.
He who tills his land shall have plenty of bread.
You want first place, come play with me. You want second place, go somewhere else.
Image is everything. That's where creation starts. Yes, 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 yes. It's about to go down. So, Mandisa, you're back with us today.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes. It's a celebration. First of all, I want to say happy birthday to your mom that passed
Yes,
away.
she would have been 76 today.
Yes. Well, happy birthday. I think she's here because all kinds of crazy stuff is going on in the studio, honey.
I'm sure she brought some friends with her.
They're mischievous. I think they want to get us back for something we did to them in the past lives or something, honey. How you feeling on today?
I'm not feeling too bad. Not feeling too bad. You know, trying to balance these energies. You know, being a light worker is, boy, I'm earning my paycheck, my cosmic paycheck these days.
Mm-hmm. I know you are. I know. You know, you were the first one that told me, and now it took me, I don't know how long to understand it, but you were the first one that said to me, you know, Amira, you said, really, I'm always in another dimension. I'm like, I'm barely in this world. And half of the time, I'm not even here. So for me to keep up with the things that's going on in the world is, really a task, really a challenge. I remember you said that to me one time. And
oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's just like living in the Matrix. You know, I always feel like, the earth is a matrix. And every time I have to lower my vibration to come here and wake people up, it takes its toll on me,
Right.
It really does. But I have great friends like you and,
yeah.
Other people. So, I do okay.
I think you do a great job. As a matter of fact, you made time for me, was it about 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And, did a beautiful, wonderful reading on me. It's my astrological chart. Am I saying that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you did that on me, and I definitely want you to share that. However, I kind of want to talk a little bit about the people that influence you, your influencers. A couple of the people that influence you in your life. I actually have just a little clip from a couple of the people that influenced you, and then I want to talk about them really quick.
Well, right. All of us are, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. So right. How we all start upon our spiritual journey, it's all unique as every individual. My story isn't exactly, so profound or anything. Mm-hmm. I was in a bad marriage and I was a new mother and I didn't have any money. Mm-hmm. So I went to the library to buy a book on numerology because I wanted to learn how to win. I wanted to figure out how to win the lottery.
Right.
And, I'm 21 years old. What do I know? So I go to the library and I find this, I go to the card, didn't have the internet back then. So we went to the card catalog and looked up numerology and it said Linda Goodman. So I went and found this Linda Goodman book, and it wasn't just about numerology. It was actually called Star Signs, The Secret Codes of the Universe. Mm-hmm. So as I'm looking at this book, getting ready to check it out, a man comes up to me and he said, well, hey, if you're into Linda Goodman, you should go to this metaphysical bookstore. I was living in Orlando, Florida at the time. I was raised Catholic, so I'd never heard of a metaphysical bookstore. So I went, started smelling all this incense that relaxed me. And then I looked at the bookshelf, and the first book that I saw was by a world-renowned psychic called Edgar Cayce. So I went home with my Linda Goodman book and my Edgar Cayce book, which led me to a book called Esoteric Mind Power, which introduced me to Nikola Tesla. So I would say that Linda Goodman, Edgar Cayce, and Nikola Tesla were the people that helped to awaken me. Linda as an astrologer and a metaphysician, Edgar Cayce as one of the best well-known psychics in the Western world, and Nikola Tesla, who is a genius scientist that we're still trying to discover the things that Nikola knew.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Let's hear a little bit from some of the people that influence you.
It has to do with the entire horoscope of each person, but it's 80% around 80% reliable based on the sun sign alone. For example, Nancy Reagan.
It was Nikola Tesla who was the most brilliant of all. He had a mind of the rarest kind. He could memorize entire books and visualize inventions with pinpoint accuracy. Once he had the concept of an invention fully visualized, he then undertook the hard work of bringing it to reality. In comparison, most other scientists and engineers are unwittingly narrow-minded in their thinking.
Case was an American mysticist who allegedly possessed the ability to answer questions on subjects as varied as healing, reincarnation, wars, Atlantis and future events while in a trance. These answers came to be known as life readings of the entity, and were usually delivered to individuals while Case was hypnotized. This ability gave him the nickname the Sleeping Prophet.
Okay, just a little bit. I don't expect anyone to get everything crammed in this 2-hour experience that we're going to have. However, this is just enough for you to do your own research. So I just wanted to highlight some of the people that, that influence you and help you, grow within your own spirituality.
Right. Absolutely. I think that that's one of the problems that a lot of the spiritual community and the so-called conspiracy theory community is running into with people, is that this information is so multifaceted and it's multidimensional and multi-layered. You can't just study. Like I said, I wouldn't have known about Nikola Tesla had I not discovered Linda Goodman.
Right.
Because her science was based on Nikola's science. Mm-hmm. She actually went to Cripple Creek, Colorado, where Nikola did a lot of his testing, his scientific testing,
yes.
Because the vibrational frequencies in Denver are so intense. She went there to have her spiritual awakening because he was there. Edgar Cayce has a research center in Virginia. And these types of people all kind of built on each other's information.
Right.
So it's very hard to just, tell somebody, well, hey, study this or study that, study this or study that. Just start with one area and it just automatically leads you to more information.
Yeah, I noticed that, during my journey, and I'm still on it. I don't claim to be a guru of any sort. But even during my journey, I noticed it's like, going down the rabbit hole, just one moment to the next. And, it leads you. And then it's funny when the spirit actually, when the spirit is actually leading you. It's like you're on YouTube looking at one thing and then it'll go, look at this, or, the next video that pops up is the exact video you should have been watching,
right.
Or even just reading, you're reading something, you're reading an article and something will pop up that, that goes with that article that you should be reading. So I just noticed how one spiritual guide almost leads you to the other as you're understanding, as you open up, I should say. As you open
Absolutely.
up. Because you'll go back and it'll be, someone like, I'm so bad with names. I can't think of his name, but he was back in the 70s and he was a preacher and he kind of stopped, preaching in church and just, he still preached at church, but it was just a different way of teaching. And I'm like, wow, he's talking about what we're just discovering. He's talking about this back in the 70s or what some of us are just awakening to. He's talking about this back in the 70s. So I guess it does come down to whatever you decide to allow.
Well, and I think we have to thank the Beatles for a lot of that because John Lennon and George Morrison were studying with Eastern yogis.
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of opened the door for a lot of the Eastern teachings to come to the West.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they call it the dawning of the age of Aquarius, because more of the integrated spiritual information was coming over from the East,
Mm-hmm.
and people were more open-minded to it at that time because they were taking all the psychedelic drugs.
Right. It will open you up.
Right?
To say the least. Well, I'm so excited to have you share this reading with the people. And I want to let them know that you are still running a special, right? 20 minutes
Yeah,
for
$20 for 20 minutes. And, I will either do an intuitive reading for you, or I'll go over your stars,
Okay.
whichever you feel more comfortable with
Okay.
or have the most curiosity about.
Okay. And so with me, you did a like all in one type of special.
Well, yeah, see, the thing with doing your reading is because, and I run into this when I run into people, when I do readings for people that I call them readings for readers.
Yes.
When I do readings for other readers,
Uh-huh.
the reading kind of takes on a life of its own.
Yes.
Because you're very well informed about some of the things that I'm saying.
Yes.
So while we did spend the majority of the time of your reading on the chart,
Yes.
on the astrological chart, I did pull a few cards for you,
Okay.
but for the most part, your reading was mostly centered around your astrology chart, because like I was trying to tell you, we're all cosmic travelers,
Right.
and we came here with a map.
Mm-hmm.
People like to say all the time, there's no instructions to life. That's not true. You came here with a map to help navigate you.
Okay.
And that's the kind of reading that I gave to you.
Wow. It sounds exciting. I can't wait for the people to hear it. Y'all hear that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You guys are tuned into Drip the Mic Network 2020 Vision. You can get me on Facebook at Amira the Songstress. You can get me on YouTube Live at Amira the Songstress. Y'all want to tap in for this one. In a little bit, we're going to be taking callers at 646-378-0355. Press 1 to be heard. But Mandisa, go on and, man, tell them about this reading. I'm ready.
Okay, so the first thing that I need to put out there is there's a huge difference between the horoscope that you read in the newspaper,
yes,
and your astrological birth chart.
Okay.
So I can understand why people are skeptical of astrology, because they read their chart and they can be like, how could every Gemini be having the same kind of day? How can every Gemini,
Yes.
And that's what made me skeptical about astrology. I wasn't into astrology. I'm a scientist. I have a scientific mind.
Okay.
It took me a long time to open up to astrology.
Mm-hmm.
And how I was opened up is that I found out I wasn't just an Aquarius,
Okay.
which is your sun sign.
Okay.
Whatever the day of your birth is, and someone asks you what your sign is,
Yes.
and you say, I'm an Aquarius, I'm a Gemini, I'm a Taurus.
Yes.
I thought that that's all there was.
Okay.
No. See, there's 9 other planets. Pluto is still a planet. I don't care what anybody says. There's 9 other planets.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a sun sign, a moon sign, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto.
Yes.
You have asteroids in your chart.
Mm-hmm.
And because it takes, because there's 30 degrees of each planet, you could be 1 degree Pisces, which meant that you were born right when the sun went into Pisces.
Okay.
You could be 29 degrees Pisces.
Okay.
That makes you different than a 1 degree Pisces. That's how deep astrology is. In fact, there's only somebody born with your same birth chart. It takes thousands and thousands of years for someone else to come around with your exact same birth chart, even if they were born in the same hospital at the same time.
Okay.
Because your environment also plays a role in your astrology. So your map, the map that I gave Amira,
Mm-hmm.
is specific to Amira as her fingerprint.
Right.
There will
right.
never be another Amira songstress, and she has her map. So one of the things that I had to explain is that I also tie in numerology with astrology. The two of them go together.
Okay.
And it's biblical. Okay. There's a book of Numbers for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason that certain numbers are repeated in the Bible, because numbers have energy. The entire universe is mathematical.
Right.
So with Amira, she's a Pisces. Okay. That's her sun sign. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So the sun sign represents the outward personality. It's how you express yourself in the world.
Okay.
It's who you feel most comfortable showing everything. It's just like the sun, right?
Okay.
But your moon sign is your inner world, your inner self.
Okay.
That you only show to other people once you get to know them. Or you.
Hold it just a second. Wait, Mandisa, can you hear me? Oh, I'm sure it's good what she's saying too. Mandisa, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. All right, give us a second. Let's try to get you back in.
Pisces.
Okay, got you back. Can you hear me
You got
now?
me back?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So we lost you after you said that the inner self, the inner person, the one that we show to some people as they get to know us. That's where we lost you. You were going to say.
Yeah, so that's your inner self.
Okay.
And for me personally, my sun sign is Aquarius, and Aquarians are, very expressive people and kind of happy-go-lucky. But my moon sign is Scorpio. So growing up, I used to wonder why the things about Aquarius didn't totally fit me.
Okay.
And it was because of my moon sign.
Okay.
That's who you really are on the inside.
Yes.
So all of the signs are broken up into elements.
Okay.
There are 4 water signs. Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer. Oh no, so the Scorpio, Pisces, and Cancer are the water signs. Okay.
Okay.
You've got Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra.
Okay.
Are the air signs.
Okay.
Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn are the earth signs.
Yes.
Sagittarius, Aries, and who am I leaving out? Sagittarius, Aries, and Leo are the fire signs.
Okay. Wow.
So Amira's sun sign and her moon sign are water.
Okay.
Water is the most receptive element. So her ability to be intuitive, to be able to be empathic, it comes with her being water. The body is 90% water.
Yes.
So that's where water is the only element that you can see your reflection in. You can't see your reflection in fire. You can't see your reflection in dirt. But you can see your reflection in water, right?
Okay. Okay.
So Amira's, the next sign is Mercury. It's the way that you communicate. So we've gone over your personality, your emotions, and the way that you communicate.
Okay.
Her Mercury is in the sign of Pisces. Her Mercury is in the sign of Pisces.
Okay.
So Pisces rules the arts. It rules spiritual. It rules different aspects of the spiritual realm. It rules illusion, delusion, self-undoing, mystery, but it also rules healing.
Yes.
So for anybody who would meet Amira, you would automatically feel a calming, healing presence because she's got her 3 planets in water. So she vibrates at a more deeper extent to the mother vibration than most people. Even me, because Aquarius is a male sign.
Yeah, sure is.
That's the other thing about the astrological signs, is they're either masculine or feminine. All of the water signs are feminine. All of the earth signs are feminine. All the fire signs are masculine. All of the air signs are masculine. So I don't get caught up in the arguments about the different genders or how people feel on the inside or transgenderism or any of that, because I could sit down with their chart and explain to them why they feel more like a woman than a man, or why they feel more like a man than a woman, or why they go back and forth between the two. It can be all explained in their astrological chart where there is no confusion. So Amira's, so then the next planet is Venus, and Amira's Venus is in the sign of Aquarius, which makes her love very idealistic, makes her love very humanitarian, makes her love a little bit detached, but not detached to the point that she's not engaged, but detached to the point where she's trying to see the whole picture to know and understand how love is to manifest for her inside and in her relationship.
Yes.
something else that I made sure to tell her is that in spite of what any astrologer says, if you go and talk to an astrologer, ask them if they're an Aquarius or if they have any planets in Aquarius.
Okay.
If they don't, there's a lot of information that they're not getting. Now, because Amira's Venus is an Aquarius, she's an official ambassador of the Aquarius age. She can express to you how you can change your vibration to love like Aquarians love, which means they're tolerant.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they accept the BS, but it means that they're open-minded with love and how love is supposed to manifest itself in the world.
Okay.
But also that love is a humanitarian thing, to make sure that the love that I have for myself is the love that I have for the earth, is the love that I have for the animals, is the love that I have for my brothers and sisters.
Yes.
So she vibrates to a humanitarian type of love. So she gets pulled in a lot of different directions. A lot of people are attracted to her. And so her close friends, me included, could get a little bit jealous because it's just like, we're not getting our Amira time.
Yeah.
Well, Amira is not just for us. Amira is here to show and pour out to the world like an Aquarius, the waters of love, the waters of love, because everybody needs water.
Yeah.
You can't live without water.
Yes.
So that's what she's here to express with her love. And then her Mars is in the planet of Capricorn. Mars is the planet of personal power. It's the planet of war.
Okay.
The sign of Capricorn is all about responsibility, authority. It's represented by the goat. So if you ever get into an argument with this woman, know that she's going to wage war like a Capricorn. And yesterday you were talking to the Pisces or the Aquarius.
This has been the running
But
thing.
see, you're not talking about love. You're not talking about communication. You're not talking about emotions. You're talking about war.
Okay.
You're talking about personal power. So you're going to get a very organized, methodical Capricorn that's going to authoritatively put you in check.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. So don't get it twisted. So if you're confusing your friends and family, and people are calling you bipolar, schizophrenic, and all of that, they're not taking into consideration which energy, which planet you need to pull from your energy.
Yes.
You're not going to pull from your moon.
That's right.
Because your moon doesn't have the power to wage war.
Right.
You're gonna pull from the moon for that emotion.
Yeah.
That's Scorpio, and God bless y'all, because her moon is in Scorpio. So she's gonna emotionally wage war with authority like a goat, climbing a mountain with a purpose. I'm just saying, okay? So then,
I felt like I just got red, literally. Like you just got
red.
red.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. You know, the great thing about when I do these readings for people, especially women, they're like, "Oh my God, could you call all my family and tell me that it's just me?"
Right.
It's not going to change. This is how I am. Sure. Put them on the phone. You know, maybe that'll be a new service that I offer, talking to your friends and family to explain
explain
about
who you are. Like they're not alone. No, they're not crazy.
Right.
It's just me. It's me. It's me. But see, that's one thing I do say though. I tell people it's probably me. It's me. I know it is. You know what I mean? Like, but it's not me on some unrighteous, mess crap. But it's me with the standards and the morals and the standards. It's me, and if that is not the standards you uphold, okay. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So then Jupiter is the planet of blessings.
Okay. Oh, one more time. We're going to try to get you back in here. And it's good. I can tell when it's really good, when she's into it. Mandisa, if you can hear me, we're going to try to get you back.
I just wiggled my thing.
Okay, there you go. So you said, did you say Jupiter? Were we in Jupiter?
Yeah.
Okay, Jupiter.
Yeah.
All right.
with her Jupiter in Aquarius, that means that that's where her blessings are. That's where she's going to make her money. Anything that has to do with the expansion and higher learning and higher education of humanity. I don't know, maybe like this podcast, perhaps, you know? But what's interesting is that, you know, you have what's called beneficent planets that, you know, really look out for your well-being, like Venus and Jupiter. And then you have malefic planets like Pluto and Saturn that kick your butt.
Right. Ooh.
Now, with Amira having the two beneficent planets, Venus and Jupiter, in the sign of Aquarius, well, guess what she's here for? She's here to expand the Aquarius age in love, in brotherhood, in humanity, in truth, and science married to technology to help move us forward spiritually, not necessarily materially. That's what she's here for. That's what her purpose is. She gave herself a map before she was even born about what her purpose is.
Say that. Come on. Tell the truth.
So then Saturn is the planet of karma. It's a planet of responsibility and authority. In the astrology world, we like to look at Saturn being the guy that's always saying, "Get off my lawn! You kids get a job and pull up your pants." You know, that's kind of how we look at Saturn. So her Saturn is in the sign of Gemini. Gemini is the sign of the twins. But Gemini also brings back that childhood wonder, curiosity. So for her to have such an innocent sign in a planet that's so stern and authoritative, she's taking those lessons and then delivering them to the world in a playful way, in a way that is more palatable, in a way that she's taking into consideration your innocence. She's trying to preserve your innocence, but at the same time push you. Because if you know anything about a Gemini, they got an evil twin too. So again, it's just saying, don't get on this girl's bad side. And come with her with some integrity. And if you're going to give her information, know and understand that she's going to take that information, pick it apart, put it back together, and pick it apart, put it back together, and ask you a bunch of questions, because that's just how she's built. Just that she's built. You know, she needs to. She's a cosmic explorer, and she has to process information at the highest level. And she knows and understands the levels of information that needs to be processed. Now, that can come off to some people as being duplicitous. And it's not being duplicitous, it's just that she doesn't have all the information. So when you pin her down for information or for an answer in that particular moment, she may just say, "Oh, well, it's this, this, and this." And then you'll be like, "Oh, well, you said this." That's not what she meant. She did not have her time to process and do her investigation and put all the pieces of information together. And there's a lot of people that we jump on their case for that, and we don't give them their time to go through their process when information comes to them. She's like a sponge. She's a Pisces. She's a receptor. All right. So she's got to discern what's yours, what's hers, what's the guys down the street, what's all these other spirits that are talking to her. And it takes a lot of energy to do all of that, which she channels through her art. Her Uranus, which is the planet of revolution, is in the sign of Libra. So she's here to have a balanced revolution. She's here to have a revolution about justice. She's here to have a revolution about equality and harmony. But always remember that the scales don't have to be completely balanced. Sometimes one can be a little off. But don't put something on her scale that's going to make her really off balance, because she can't use that to wage revolution. And she's waging a revolution of the mind, of the soul, of the spirit, of the entertainment industry. And you distract her from that goal and that purpose when you don't understand that that's where she's coming from as her generational purpose. Because Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are generational planets. They take so long to come around the sun that like Generation X,
Okay.
a lot of us have planets in Virgo, have those outer planets in Virgo. All generations have those last three planets in a lot of the same times because each generation has a purpose.
Okay.
And the Uranus in Libra generation is here to bring balance to revolution.
Okay.
It's great, all power to the people, but you also have to make sure that the people are fed and clothed and that their soul is fed. Can't just go out there boxing with people.
Right.
Her Neptune, which is a planet of spirituality, is in the sign of Sagittarius, which is also about, it's about expansion and higher learning. So again, spiritually, she's here to expand the understanding of spirituality. And then the sign of Pluto, she has in Libra again. She's here to balance the process of transformation. And, that's just kind of a basic understanding. Astrology goes so much deeper into the degrees they are and what planet clashes with the other planet and what planet harmonizes with the other planet. But just to show you that that a basic chart could explain so many things about yourself that you've been trying to change about yourself and you've been ashamed about or you've been trying to change.
Yes.
It's the map you gave yourself so that you can be an example for other people.
Right. Okay. I get it. Yeah, because a lot of times you're right. You hit the hammer right on the nail. Like you try to you get embarrassed or you try to change it about yourself, and when it bumps up against other people, you sit back. You're like, dang, I'm a trip, whatever. Right. But literally, I am. I'm going. I came to trip around the universe or whatever. So I mean, it definitely it's like me talking to me when I hear you do my chart and do my reading. It's like me talking to me. It's a lot of confirmation for me. It resonates with me. It calls to my memory what it was all about. Like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That's why. Yeah, I did say that, and I did do that, and that is what my goal is, and that it has always been my purpose. And you're right, So it's so insightful. I enjoyed it. I learned from it. I wrote down a lot of stuff. There's, like you said, there are so many other things that we touched on. It gets into the mystical, magical, elements of things and everything. But I really enjoyed it. To anyone that can hear my voice out there, you definitely want to take time and get a reading from Mandisa. She's very thorough. She really does her homework, and she takes what she does very seriously. What I like about the reading is that it's not only from a spiritual standpoint, but it's from a scientific point of view as well. And I know you understand that they're the same.
Right. Absolutely. They verify each other every day.
Yes.
Science and spirit
Yes.
verify and confirm each other every day.
Yeah.
I wish, a lot of us do hang out together. Like Bruce Lipton. Bruce Lipton is a great scientist, and he really teaches, basically we are sovereign beings.
Okay.
And we have 70 trillion cells in our body. We are the president of our body. These cells are sentient beings.
We are not puppets on a
that
string.
We're in charge of, that we could talk to every day and say, heal thyself.
That's right. And they're starting to, the scientists are starting to admit that. I've seen that. What are they calling it?
There's quantum healing.
Yes.
Quantum healing. What do they call it? Bruce Lipton does this thing called epi something that's like the lowest level of cellular understanding. And so science and spirituality are validating one another. They totally are. And for those people that are suffering from, they go to the doctor and the doctor's like, well, you're bipolar and you have all these issues. I can explain that to you. I'm not telling anybody not to be on their meds or anything like that. I wouldn't suggest that. But I'm just saying dig deeper. Right. Because there may be another explanation why you feel like there's a war going on inside of you.
Yes. Yep. I agree. Well, again, I want to switch gears just a little bit. One good turn deserves another. First of all, I need a hand clap for that reading, though. That was out of sight. it was definitely in spirit though. Out of sight, but in spirit.
Understand.
But I do want to switch gears a little bit. I also have been exploring a lot of the spiritual gifts that you were speaking about. Here lately, I've been doing, I guess, the work. I don't know if I want to call it work, but I've been connecting with those who have passed away and even some that are still here. And people want to call me a medium. I don't know if I'm okay with that yet, because, there's a lot of, mediums out there that are, certified for whatever that means to whoever. But for me, I just know that I've always heard from spirit. I've always dealt with spirit from the time I was a child. And I've always had a huge imagination. I've always been able to feel things, sense things, and even see things. A lot of, at the time we called them ghosts. And, at the time when you would wake up but still be asleep and your body would be going through a paralysis, we used to call it the witch riding your back. All these things that we had, all of these explanations we had for just really, I believe it was just us trying to remind ourselves, of the connection that we have to infinite intelligence and power and source itself, which is God. So as it has came along, I've been encouraged by spirit to talk more about it. And so with that, I've connected with Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Prince, Rick James, Tupac, Notorious Big, Etta James, Natalie Cole, my mother, my father, the father of my children, all these people that have passed away, as well as all my life I've been connecting with people in the spirit and talking to their higher power. And I didn't know what it was called. I didn't even know that's what I was doing. I just know that you ever get mad, right? You ever mad with your friend? Y'all upset with each other and y'all haven't talked in a while, or you haven't talked to that person to resolve what it is you guys are upset about. And you have this little fantasy in your mind, what you would say to that person if you could talk to that person, or if you was talking to that person right then. Or even you kind of replay the argument in your head and then you talk out loud what because you hear this person saying these things to you or repeating the argument that you had. And then you're going back at them like, well, you're answering yourself as you're thinking about this in your mind. Well, that's it. You're doing it. That's communication. That's when you're connecting. That's when you're connecting in the spirit. It's happening for real. And what I started to realize is that when you connect to someone's higher power, that person has to be tuned into their higher conscious in order to receive that message. Now, it's not that they don't receive it in their spirit, like they may give you a phone call. They may be the first one to decide to break the silence by giving you a call. And they say, I was just thinking about you. And you go, yeah, I was just thinking about you too. That's connection. We want to wipe that off as if it's nothing. Oh, it's just happenstance and that's just normal. It is normal. It's normal for us to connect. That's why I say pay attention to everything. And so that's how I started to develop the gifts, by literally giving credence to what it is that I was actually learning from the inside out, in spirit. And as this thing got stronger and stronger, I started to trust myself more. I started to trust that what I was hearing was from, infinite intelligence, divine guidance, in spirit, being inspired. I started to trust more. I started to see evidence. And I always smile about God because I think, God doesn't have to prove a thing to us, but God will set his word forth and see that it's good and it's perfect. And so I've dealt with that throughout my spiritual journey. And so now I openly share the things that I receive. And I wanted to contact your mother for you. And before I get started, can you tell me just a little bit about your mother, actually when she passed and what she actually meant to you as she starts to make her way into the room?
Right. Well, my mother, I was adopted when I was 9 months old. My father was stationed in Montana, and he had me by himself. My birth mother had given me to my father to take care of. And my dad was with my mother, my adoptive mother at the time. Her name is Charlene. And so Charlene adopted me when I was 9 months old, and she is Native American. So I grew up in Montana in a Native American family. I'm African American, but I was raised in the Native American culture. So us talking to the mountains and talking to the eagles and talking to the trees and all of that is just something I've done my entire life. Um, my mother, unfortunately, there's a lot of trauma involved with our Native American brothers and sisters. And unfortunately, at 9 years old, she was being raped on the Indian reservation and she wasn't able to have children of her own. And I would assume that that trauma contributed to her early death of ovarian cancer when she was 44 years old. However, I was not living with my mother at the time that she died. I had gone to live with my father. And about 3 days before she died, I was driving by her house and my arm started just jerking in the direction towards my aunt's house. And it said, go visit your mother, go visit your mother, go visit your mother. So I hadn't seen her in probably a month or so, and the cancer had really gotten to her. And so I went to go visit her, and, she made me promise that I would go to college. And, she gave me some advice, and then she passed away 3 days later. However, the day that she passed, I knew before I got the phone call. So me and my mother are very connected, and I feel that she did physically abuse me because she had a very, very bad drinking problem, and my father used to beat her. So there was a lot of trauma involved. And so I think because of that, because I talk to people on the other side myself, but I feel that because of that issue, that's part of the reason that my mother and I haven't been able to talk to each other as freely as I'm able to talk to other spirits. So I'm very thankful that she's talking to you, because her and I have a lot of things that we probably should resolve.
Yeah, I remember she was very serious. She had a strong message for you, very strong message. But the first thing she showed me when we first talked about it, and I talked about contacting her for you, the first thing she showed me was, and not trying to offend anyone, I just don't know the name of it, but is it a poncho in the tribe they wear Indian over their head? The color is red, black, and white in a poncho. And she was around the fire, and she was spinning around and dancing around the fire. And this is when we were on the phone talking. And she looked up with a big smile on her face, the big, widest smile I ever seen. But it was your face. She showed me your face. And I was confused about that because, I didn't know this was your adopted mother. So the first thing I thought, and like I said, as I'm still growing, sometimes my own, lean not to my own understanding, my own interpretation of these things. I just really need to be the vessel to deliver the message and what I see, because I try to figure out what it all means. But maybe that's just not my job yet. But when she showed me your face with that big smile, she told me. That she showed me your face when she was spinning around because she dreamed of you before you came into her life. She said you were her everything. She admired you. And when you were talking, I was kind of writing down because she's here. She's talking. Did she say Mimi? What did she call you? Nickname? She's saying Mimi?
She called me Mimi girl.
Okay, so I'm pronouncing it wrong. Mimi. Okay, Mimi girl. Okay, that's what she's saying. She said, it's okay, Mimi. She has that little whine in her voice. Mimi, it's okay, Mimi. So that's how she said it. But she was saying that, when you were talking about the physical abuse, obviously there was the alcohol, but again, she admired you. And sometimes admiration, there's a thin line between that and jealousy. You were everything. She saw it. You were everything that she wanted to be. The strength, the way you speak out, the way you advocate for others. She's very emotional about it right now. She wants me to cry, but I ain't about to do it. But she everything about you, your strength, everything that she couldn't do. The voice that she didn't have when she couldn't speak up for herself. She saw that in you. So it was a little bit of that was in there too. And, You know, when we, sometimes we just don't know what to do with those feelings and emotions. That's no excuse. She said she just wasn't herself. She wasn't who she wanted to be. But she said she thought you were absolutely perfect. And she says, it's time for you to blossom. She shows me your face looking up and smiling. She said there's another level that you're ready to ascend to, but you have been questioning it. You know, it's been a question to you. But she's so excited about you and where you're getting ready to go. If she could have transformed herself into you when she was here, she would have. And see, remember I was saying, like, that's where the kind of jealousy came in,
Right.
you know, but it wasn't, it just not knowing what to do with your feelings, not knowing what to do with your emotions, you know. Let's see. Okay, maybe she came there. Okay. She said she didn't deserve such an intelligent little girl, and she was amazed and in awe by you the whole time. When you mentioned the rape, she said, the rapes didn't break me. They made me. They gave me the strength and life. They gave me strength and life is what she said. I know it sounds weird, she says, but it's time for you to understand your place in life. When a force comes so strong and tries to break you, it's a test of your faith and evidence of your strength. So she said, it's a test of your faith, but evidence of your strength. So when something so big and powerful tries to come take you down, I was just saying this the other day, like sometimes I notice people will team up on me, you know, even since I was little, you know, they would team up in kindergarten, my first day of kindergarten, all the girls got together and we were running across the field. They were like, oh, boys chasing us, you know, and I'm running with them laughing and everything. And we get across the field and I don't remember, like I can see her face, but I don't remember her name. But she looked at me and she said, Amira, I don't know what you running for. You the boy that's chasing us. So the whole group of girls laughed at me, alienated me, and I didn't have any friends in kindergarten, right? And never understood like what the F is going on with me, right? But what I realized and what I continue to realize when people try to team up on you, when it's a strong force. I was in court with my son about 6-7 years ago. And I watched the prosecutor parade everybody in. He had like he had the police officer. He had the next door neighbor. He had the management of the apartment complex. He had, you know, he just had all these people to come and testify against my son, saying that he did this thing, and none of them was there. None of them was there but him and my son and one other person. But they all had this story to tell about what my son had done or what they think he's done based off these crazy things. And the prosecutor had all these people that he paraded in there. And if from the outside looking in, you would think, oh my God, he's about to win because he has all these witnesses. You know what I'm saying? Look at all of these people, all these people against my one son. Look at them. They hate him. Even the judge was kind of like giving leadway. Every time our attorney tried to object to something that was going on that wasn't right, like the judge would go overruled. You know what I mean? Like everybody. It was a big, powerful force in there against my son. But I was in there like, not today. And I was in there praying, pulling those strongholds, those demons down, knocking them up. Get out of here. You know, but what that taught me, and by the way, he got acquitted on all charges. You know, even when I was looking at the jury selection, and they all look like, you know, oh, they gonna convict my son. Like they don't look friendly. They don't look like they like him. They ain't the same complexion. It's about to go down, right? But you know, as powerful as they came, you know, as many came, they all were defeated. Every last one of them. And that's when you know how powerful you are. That's why it's a test. You know, it's a test of your faith, but it is evidence of your strength. Imagine how many people it takes to knock you down. You know, it only takes one bowling ball to knock all the pins down, right? So imagine when everybody is teaming up against you, trying to take you down, and you still don't break. And even if you go down, you pop back up like one of the little weeble wobble things. You know what I mean? You keep popping back up. They don't understand it. Like, damn, I thought I killed her this time. Yeah. But, you know what I mean? But you're powerful beyond measure. And when something as strong and forceful come at you, that lets you know, man, I must be really powerful. That it's taking all these people to try to knock me down, and it's still not winning. It's not, it's still not happening. So that's that part she wanted me to especially express to you, not just for you, but for her as well. Like she said, the rapes didn't break her. It said they made her, and gave her strength. She also said, whatever the stronghold in your life right now, it's weaker than you. It's minuscule as compared to your strength. She says, I've watched you try to break through. She said, I watched you try to break through it for years. So whatever this stronghold is on you, it's like she's been watching you for years trying to, break through it. She says even decades. So apparently in your past life, or even just she's watched you really struggle with this thing. But she said, stop trying to go through the problems because they will engulf you. When you enter into the middle of your problems. So when you walking in the middle, you're trying to just kind of go through them. We always say, I'm going through some things. I'm, going through. Think about when you're going through something in the middle of something, then it has the power, to wrap around you and engulf you in it, right? She said, don't do that. She said, go around them like they're not even yours. Don't own them. In other words, they won't be your problems anymore if you leave them where they at. Literally, disown them. Disown your problems is what she said. Like, walk away, be like, okay, I see that's a big blob of craziness right there. I'm just going to go around, yeah. She's always showing me herself dancing. I noticed. I remember you sent these pictures to me. You sent a picture of her as well as a picture of you dancing. Prior to that, she was just showing me herself dancing. And when she dances, she has her fingers like she's doing this, but she's not like really popping her fingers. It's just a way to dance. It's like, hey.
Yeah, and what dance that, what dance that song, what song goes with that dance?
What?
Change, change, change.
Hey.
Chain of food.
Yes.
That was her cut.
That was her song? Okay.
That was her cut.
Okay.
And that was her dance to that cut.
Yeah, that's how she likes to spin around, when she's dancing, obviously when she first showed me to her, herself to me, her arms was in the air and she was spinning around. But when she does this, she likes to, what else? Let me see, because I wrote this stuff down. I was trying to find a nickname. I think the stronghold. We talked about that. Oh, this is the thing. This is the last thing I wanted to tell you. She was saying, I was in the shower, and she came through. And I told you sometimes they tend to come through real strong when I'm in water, whether it's in the bathtub or in the shower. And she said, I see you and Mandisa back at it again, huh? Laugh. She said, laugh out loud. Laugh out loud. She said, little rascal. That's I don't know what, but rascal. She said, little rascal. That's what it was. And the last time I had seen her before today, I could just feel her. I can't really. I heard her go May May. So yeah, I can feel her. She's saying little things. She hasn't shown me any pictures today, but the last time I seen her, like the last time she did a flash for me, in my mind's eye, she was by my bedside, and Tupac. So the father of my children, as you know, is deceased. So he was kneeling at my bedside, and then Tupac was standing behind him with his arms, with his hand over his fist, but down, down by his groin. He had on a whitish, silverish suit, and he was standing behind, off to the left side of the father of my children that was kneeling, and then your mother was a little bit behind Tupac, and she was doing her dance. And then in the backdrop, it was all eyes on me. That's what was playing in the back. And I had just woke up, and this is what I saw when I woke up, and I just laughed. And I really, I've really been trying to put it together. The all eyes on me. I think that's a theme. For me, that's what I keep on hearing. All eyes on me. So I do think that was a message. Like I said, the good thing about God, when God comes and God blesses, God just swoops his hands down, and whoever's in the way will get some on them. So, every time I receive a message, it's just not for one thing at one time, for one person. They do collaborative messages, messages with layers. So I'm still unraveling that one. But I know your mother was there. She was dancing, enjoying herself, having a good time. Maybe she was just there to say that everything was all right. The all eyes on me is maybe because what we're doing with the podcast, and just the all eyes on me time right now. And then maybe the father of my children was kneeling at my bedside to show compassion. I don't know, but the last time I seen her, she was with Tupac, honey. And
he's probably a part of her soul group.
Okay.
He's probably a part of her soul group.
So, you know what? It's the time is getting away from us. I want to be able to bring some callers in, but I do want to introduce our other guest, Tony. He is the host for Truth Be Told, and I want him to chime in on this part because he brings a paranormal aspect to the talk, to the conversation. So, Tony, can you chime in here with us?
I sure can. What you need me to talk about? Hey, everybody.
Hey, welcome.
Thank you.
To your own studio.
My son's name is Tony.
You said your son is named Tony?
Yeah, my son's name is Tony. Yeah.
Mama. Well, it's a very interesting topic. This is something that I, deal with all the time on my show of paranormal and psychics and, mediums that connect to the loved ones from the other side. And I love hearing readings like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you want to know about?
I want to know everything. So so your perspective. So I call it spirit, and I say my and extensions of spirit. Our energy is extensions of spirit. They're just they're just not in their shell, but they are still the same energy, same person, same personality. They're a part of infinite intelligence now, so they're able to give us different perspectives. They're able to be forgiving. They're able to just experience love and pure positive energy instead of anything negative.
Right.
And that's what that would be my definition of what maybe they would say ghost. So from a paranormal aspect, I just wanted you to talk to that. Like when you see that or when that has happened, what is that for you?
When I was growing up, I grew up in a really small town in Kansas.
Okay.
It's like 200 people, and everybody knew everybody in that town or related. I grew up in an old house that was about 100 years old. Not quite 100 at that time, but definitely 100 now. But when I was about 8 years old, I, at the time, was the only one that I used to see an old man in my house.
Oh, wow.
Everybody would hear things, and see like little shadows, but they would hear doors shut upstairs. But I was the one that would actually see the actual figure.
Okay.
And then as we get older, a lot of times we lose that ability
to receive.
To receive it, and it could be because people have told you that it's not real, or that wasn't the case for me because everybody in my family, except for my dad, he believed that there was something there. But years later, one of my nephews at the time, he was about the same age as I was.
Okay.
And he was in the house with his mother, my sister-in-law, and he said, "Mama, who's that old man sitting in that chair?"
Mm-hmm.
And she looked over and she said, "What old man?" And that old man sitting in that chair. And then she remembered the story that I told about seeing an old man.
Oh.
So she picked him up and ran out the door as fast as she could. So, I feel that there are beings, spirits that do pass, and some, like this old man, that either he really loved his home or he was just not ready to go yet, or he just loved to come and visit because he wasn't there all the time, but we would hear it sometimes.
Yeah. So explain that a little more. So your experience was like they're not there all the time because like if someone said, well, there's a ghost in my house or there's a spirit in my house.
Right.
like, and at sometimes they're not as prevalent as they, are at other times. Right. So they actually go, in your perspective, they actually go somewhere. And
I believe that they, like my mother, she passed away about 1.5 years ago.
Okay.
My mother and I were, I was mama's boy, and as she got older, she was in a nursing home, and I became like the parent.
Okay.
For many years, I was almost like the parent.
Okay.
But we were very close, and as she got closer to her death, she used to tell me, and she was ready to go. For years, she was a tough old broad. She was not ready to go. Yeah. And that's why I said even the angel of death was like, I ain't going to mess with this one. But when she got closer to saying, I'm ready, it was my time. She would tell me that she goes, Tony, I see people walk into my room that's not there. She goes, I'd look around and nobody's there. And then about 2 weeks before she passed away, she said, I was visited by my mother. Well, her mother, she never knew. She was 1 year old. Her dad and my grandma got a divorce, and then my grandfather never let my mom see her mother ever.
Oh, wow.
So she never knew her mother, but she visited her before she passed away. So I believe that, as people go to the other side, again, some people are not ready to go, and they do hold on to this dimension, not dementia, dimension. But they sometimes need a little help. Go. The old saying is, "Go to the light, Caroline." It's really go to the light.
So your mother's mother,
my mother's mother, right,
came to visit her
in her nursing home. Yes.
Right before she passed.
Right before she passed.
So in spirit.
In spirit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was that like?
Well,
I know you wasn't there, but
Well, I wasn't there, but for a long time, I was not ready for my mom to go. I'm like, God, don't take my mother. But seeing her, and that's why sometimes when as humans on this side, we see our family go through so much and so much pain, through physical pain, emotional pain. We finally get to a point. It says, God, I think it's time. I think she was ready.
Yeah.
And then it took me a little bit, but then it's finally said, you know what, Mama, that's your choice.
Yeah, that's right.
That's your choice, and if you are ready, I don't want you to go, but I understand. I understand.
Yeah.
And she went fairly couple weeks, maybe a couple weeks after that. But when she would tell me this, I would just, I didn't say, my dad was like, he was always like that. He's still like that. Like, whatever. You're just
refuse.
He just refuses. But, I would just say, that's great, Mother. They're there to protect you, and they're there to guide you. And it's, when it's your time, you're going to be fine.
Yes.
And right at the end, and she refused, any help, from no drugs except for the morphine for pain, but she didn't want to be resuscitated.
No.
And that's what we did for her.
Yeah.
It was, I think, one of the best humane things for us to do.
And that's beautiful. That's what we did for my mom too. She didn't want any of that stuff. And when I got to the hospital to see her, and they had her hooked up on so many different things.
Right.
It was just it was horrible.
Right.
Like, this is worse than death. You guys do realize this, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
She's helpless. She has tubes coming out of everywhere. Just shit off of her.
Right.
Let her go in peace and dignity, and even after we took everything off, she still was alive for about a week. I said,
that's my mama too.
I was like, she's a tough old girl. I was like,
that's what I was like, Mama, what are you waiting for? But I have to say, a lot of people, years ago, I had many psychic readings and some with the great ones that told me that your mother is only staying because the doctor told us 30 years ago, like every 2 years she's not going to make it.
Yeah.
She's not going to make it. And she made it.
Yeah.
And people told me she's staying for you to make sure you're okay.
That's the same story.
And it took me forever to say, Mama, I'm going to be all right.
Yeah, me too. The same exact story. My mother, like in my in-laws or whatever, would come over and, how you doing, Shirley? Because she was always in the room,
Shirley,
laying out. How you doing, Shirley? And,
Shirley or Shirley?
Shirley, but
Shirley,
that's the way they pronounce it. Shirley, how you doing, Shirley? Shirley. No, but anyway. And her response was always, waiting to die, but Mira won't let me. I said, what? Just say that. Who walks around saying that?
And then they look at you like, what?
Right.
What are you?
And so finally, when I stopped saying the prayer, because we say the prayer, please God, keep my mama alive, don't let her die today. I don't want to know.
Every day, like don't do it.
Please, And when I stopped saying the prayer and started thinking about her,
right,
and the pain and suffering she must be in, because like we would revive her all the time. We said she was like a cat with 9 lives. Like,
right.
I'm telling you, my mama died so many times. She even died having me, like almost died having me. Like,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it so many times. And so, it got to the point where it was like, what are we doing? And I know when she was ready, and I could tell when she was ready, and because she took a chance by flying all the way from San Diego to Nashville, Tennessee, by herself. And she
wouldn't have done that.
she went ahead, and she was in a wheelchair, and she had me and my husband take her to the airport, and we was like, no, Mom, you don't need to go, da, da, da. But I already knew we wasn't going to stop her, and she was ready. She wanted to go say bye to her sisters.
Right.
And then she went with my brother in Florida, and she still lasted for about 6 months after that. But she was ready. She was ready. She had stopped talking to everybody. And she was like, y'all can do all the formalities, but I'm out of here. And I feel like it was the best thing that I could have ever done was let her go and be peaceful with it. And, all of the energy and the different spirits that was around, it was funny because you felt, you can literally feel the yin and the yang around death.
Right. Right.
Like it's both of them there.
Right.
And I'm not saying one is going to take over or whatever, but everything is present.
Right.
At that moment. And I guess it speaks to, rebirth as well, but everything is present at that moment. So I just sang all of her favorite songs. I just, praised God with her and just did everything I can do so that she can have a peaceful transition. And then I had to get to the point to realize that, have some tissue, I had to get to the point where I had to realize that she was already gone and that it was just the shell after, it was just a shell after a certain point because, they moan a lot when they're dying. So you're thinking like, oh my God, they're still in pain or whatever. But there was one point where I had to realize that spirit is out of there.
Right. I believe that about my mother when like her spirit was already gone.
Yeah.
And that's when I actually flew in because I'm the only one that lives out away from Kansas. My brothers and sister live in the same hometown where we grew up. Most of my nieces and nephews are around that area. I'm the only one that said bye. But when I flew into Denver, it was a big long layover, and I ended up just renting a rental car and just drove like hell. It took I think it was 5-hour drive, and I'd call and they'd keep me updated in about an hour. And I know she did this for a reason. An hour before I got there, she passed.
Oh.
And I knew, but I didn't feel bad about it because my mom and I talked almost every day for the last, I was 48 at the time, almost every day. So I never had the regrets. I should have, would have, could have.
Yeah.
I never did. But the only thing that I do regret is seeing the shell afterwards in the nursing home.
It's different.
That is stuck in my head.
It's
and I didn't like that.
Yeah, it's frightening to see, lifeless.
Because it didn't even look like her.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well.
I mean, it was just because she was kind of a heavy woman for many years, and then she got down to 90 pounds, and then she looked like she was 90, and she was only 79. And it was just the image of her. That's what sticks in my head. The only thing that pisses me off about all this, I always thought. My mama, because we were so close, I would see her. I would see her in my, I would take a vision of her. She would come visit me, blah, 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 blah. But then several times that my husband, we would, I would be sleeping and he would wake me up. He said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You were talking to your mother."
Oh,
and I'm like, "I was?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Yeah." And then in January, I was sick, and I got up to go to the restroom. I had a fever and all this stuff. I got up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I came back, and he goes, "You okay?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Where'd Mom go?" And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Where did Mother go?"
Yeah,
and then I was like, "What am I talking about?"
Yeah.
I don't ever remember it, but apparently I have conversations with her without without even remembering it. So
Your will is so strong. You're walking over there in that dimension, and
I think so.
And yeah, you're speaking to her. That's what connection is all about.
Yeah.
You know, I encourage you and anyone else that's listening, don't take that for granted. That's your connection
God,
right there.
But
You know what I mean?
Remember it.
Write it down when you, like, as soon as you wake up, try to write, just write whatever you're thinking.
I don't even remember it. That's the problem.
Like
I
it's
never
even,
remember it.
Okay.
It's almost like this deep secret conversation that she's like, don't tell anybody, because I don't remember it. So
well, that's where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I guess in spirit. You know what? I want to take a few calls because I know we
please.
have some people on the line that wants to chime in on this. Who we got first on the line? Brother Igozi? Is that how you pronounce it? Igozi? Igozi, are you there?
Hold on, we can't hear you. Hold on.
Okay, we're going to get him on the line. It looks like we have a few people that's wanting to either chime in or
All
just
right,
listen.
I'm
There
here.
we go.
Oh, Brother Igozi, am I pronouncing that right?
First of all, Mary the Songstress, I don't call into a whole lot of radio shows, you know what I mean, because I'm always into mine. But,
Yes.
But I'm saying right now, first of all, I am your honeybee on turntables 1 and 2 for you, and especially you. It's your
Yes.
honeybee DJ Olasky, internationally known.
Yes.
First of all, I'm very, very proud of this show.
Thank you.
First of all, to your wonderful guests, I'm definitely into the spirituality when it comes down to the atmosphere.
Yes.
I'm born July 17th, 1969. I'm a Cancer. So I know that what she was saying is absolutely true.
Amen.
About that water and being an empath.
Yes.
And feeling people. I can walk into a room and feel a person instantly. And it's not about judging. It's the old folk called it discernment.
Yes.
And I have a lot of discernment.
Yes.
And if I know that something is wrong, where you going? What's going on, B? I got to leave. Why? Because I don't want to be in this atmosphere.
Right.
Not trying to say I'm not trying to confront things. Listen, I don't know you, so I don't have to confront you at all.
At all.
What I do is maturely leave the premises.
Yes.
And that's in any state. But this show here, right here, that part, period, outstanding show tonight.
Thank you.
Like I said, you two, special guests. When you started to, when she read your chart, and you were, definitely in spiritual agreement of the chart.
Yes.
What the young man shared tonight is outstanding.
Yes.
We don't have a lot of shows that really get into the crux of people's spiritual content.
Right.
Sometimes we look at people at, at face value, with what you see.
Yes.
It's not your optical eye that reads. It's definitely the pineal gland. It's
right.
that third eye that
Third
reads.
eye, that's right.
To see you, Amira, tonight, orchestrate as I call her, y'all, Drip the Mic. She's the great expediter of broadcasting. Put that down. The great expediter of broadcasting. That's who she is. So you got that from me. You're right here, your honeybee. But
thank you.
Officially, my name is Oladele Malewa Ngozi. I'm CEO of Ngozi Time Multimedia LLC.
Yes.
Which encompasses the Great Beverly Nation and Determined and Motivated Online Now Network.
Yes.
Over at Talk Shoe Radio. And I provost 18 different hosts, 9 different shows. And I love our brother Aziz and his fiance, Sabina Hatcher. I think what you guys are doing at Drip the Mic is excellent.
Thank you.
To be able to see you on Facebook Live and elegant.
Thank you.
This woman is elegant.
Aww.
You know what I mean? You see her and you see her face value, but if you go into the more depth of who Amira the Songstress is, man, you see her shining light.
Oh.
And I want everybody that's in the sound of my voice, definitely listen to this show on Sunday nights. You got to tell your mama, tell your friends, tell your daddy, and get into the bin.
Yes.
Turn it on.
Yes.
Turn your satellite. Hook it up. This show is definitely, I think it's definitely a flagship show because you're dealing with people's hearts.
Thank you.
And trying to change minds.
Yes.
That's what broadcasting has always been about.
Huh.
And I always say a lot of networks, with the back and forth and all that, I always say, let's take off the clown shoes and just come together as a force.
Yes.
You know what I mean? A force for change.
Yes.
A lot of times we go back and forth with different situations, but I'm telling you, I support and Oni Dynasty will tell you. I represent a grand network. I support Drip the Mic Network.
Wow, that's big.
You know what I mean?
Get
I
it,
support
brother,
everyone
like
who's a friend of me. That's it. Okay, what's going on? This network's a friend of me. Other networks are offering me. I support this show, and I love what this network is doing in the mirror.
Thank you so much. And, shout out to Aziz and the Drip the Mic family. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you.
Here?
Can you hear me? You got me?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me? Hello, hello. It's a little bit of a glitch. Is something muted on our end?
Yeah. Hello?
Oh, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? No, he can't hear me. Okay. What about that muted right there? No? Okay.
I hear you now.
You can hear me now? Okay.
Yeah.
I was
There you go. Can you hear me?
Yes. I got you. I was just saying thank you so much. Thank you for those kind words.
Great show anyway.
Oh, he still can't hear me. Hello? Okay. You know what? Thank you, brother. I'm just gonna say thank you. You'll hear this on the replay. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for speaking up. Thank you for speaking up for the network, Drip the Mic Network. Shout out to Aziz, my brother, the CEO of the network, and for giving us this opportunity, giving me this chance. So I really appreciate it. I don't take it lightly. And thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate your words. Who do we have next? Okay, everyone else is just listening. Any Facebook chatters? Any Instagram chatters? Let's see who we got here. We got Keys to the Street. What up, what up, what up, what up? On my Instagram Live, Keys to the Street show. We have Evan Lydnell, the comedian. What up, what up, what up? Official Sean Gray. Hey, Sean. 16 World joined. And then who is this? The Lizzie T Show. Oh my God, I haven't heard from you in a while. I actually interviewed on the Lizzie T Show a couple of years ago. How are you? And Big Sai, what up, what up, what up? You've been around following and learning and observing. Thank you so much for sticking in there with me. And then the Lion Savage, thank you so much. Just want to shout you guys out really quick. What do we have here? Okay, so Toya Nichols, she chimed in online. She said, I'm a Pisces. What up, Pisces? Yes, we're in the age of Aquarius. But, the Pisces, we're just kind of got that infinite. We 12, the oldest sign of the zodiac. We embody all of attributes of all the other signs. So, yes, it's wonderful to be a Pisces. I want to get, Tovia. Hey, Tovia. And she's, you know what? Tovia and I met. Oh my God, when was that? In 2008, 2009 in Maryland. My husband was stationed in Maryland and we were there. And, everywhere I go, I got to do some music. So I had to find a band, put a band together. And I ran into this phenomenal drummer. She was from Seattle, but she was in Maryland at the same time I was in Maryland. A woman that is a phenomenal drummer. I'm not going to just say a woman that's a drummer, but she's phenomenal. I just wanted to let you know that power is coming from a woman. And she's been a friend of mine for quite some time. We played and did some great things together everywhere I've been able to go, and she's there. She showed up and showed out for me. So shout out to Tovia chiming in through Facebook. And she said that this show is an awakening. Thank you. Thank you. That means that we're doing our job. So what up, Mandisa? You still up in here?
Well, yeah, I'm enjoying myself.
Are you?
One of the things that I wanted to circle back to,
okay.
I know that when the three of us were talking on the phone, there's a lot of talk and everything out there right now in the conspiracy theory world about secret societies. And I know that that's something that Tony dibbles and dabbles in. And it kind of ties back to my mom, because earlier I had said that she hasn't come to visit me, and that's not necessarily true. When I met Prince, I actually met Prince on January 1st, 1999. I was at his 1999 concert, and I got to meet him and have conversations with him and everything. But that whole entire weekend in Las Vegas was very, very weird. There was a lot of dark energy in Vegas. I think the darker forces were trying to do something with the changing of us getting ready to go into a new millennium. But we ended up, I was with my little sister and her friend, and we ended up, they wanted to go see Hoover Dam. And if anybody's been to Hoover Dam, there's a lot of Masonic symbols there. There's like a sundial there that has all the signs of the zodiac.
Okay.
These huge angels. I mean, it's really an intense metaphysical energy that's there. And so we decided to walk across the bridge, and I heard this voice that said, "Stand here and meditate." And it had kind of an accent, "Stand here and meditate." And so so I did. And the winds, I was standing between the two columns.
Again. Okay.
It's always when it gets good.
I know, it's always when she about to give us some real good knowledge. Mandisa, if you can hear me, we gonna get you right back again.
Again?
Okay. So start from when you were standing standing in between the two pillars, and it said, okay.
So I was standing in between the two pillars, and I heard this voice say, "Stand here and meditate." And then I felt all these strong winds come. And I started getting really kind of tired just standing there. And I heard the voice say, "Do not lean on the dam. You're vibrating at such a high frequency that you'll take the dam down." And I had just read the Celestine Prophecy, and the Celestine Prophecy said something about when you need an answer to a question, that, a lot of times we have these experiences where we're at like Starbucks or something, and we catch somebody's eye, and we keep catching their eye, and we keep catching their eye. That is the answer to your question. But a lot of times we don't go and talk to that person because it's a stranger. So as I was standing there, it was really weird, because some people were walking by as if they couldn't see me, but other people that looked at me, they had like this weird little white swirl in their eyes, which was talked about in the Celestine Prophecy. So I was just standing there witnessing all of that. And then I guess maybe about after what I thought was about 15 minutes, I started walking back towards the car. Well, then my little sister and her friend came running at me, and they're like, "Where have you been? Where have you been?" And I said, "I've been standing on the bridge." And they said, no, you haven't. We locked the keys in the car, and we've been looking for you for 2 hours. Wow. So apparently I physically disappeared at Hoover Dam at this weird place with all this Masonic stuff in a sundial for 2 hours. But that's not the weird part. I stopped living with my mother when I was 12 years old. And her family, when she passed away, she passed away when I was 18, and they took all of her possessions, which included some of my childhood pictures.
Okay.
So when I was about 31, I went back to Montana and ran into one of my mom's old friends. And he said, "Hey, I have this box that your mom left here." When I opened that box, there was a picture of my mother and my grandmother standing at all of the places at Hoover Dam that I was told by spirit to stand. And they were literally, my grandma was on one side and my mom was on the other side. And right there, it said on the dam, "Do not lean." So what are the odds of that? So when I started thinking back, because my grandmother still had her Native American accent, it was her that was telling me to stand there and meditate. She said, "Stand here and meditate, stand here and meditate."
Yes.
So the only thing that I can glean from that is that I'm some type of gatekeeper.
Portal.
That whatever was supposed to happen didn't happen, because I stood there for, I guess, 2 hours, but didn't know that I had physically disappeared. And whenever I question my gifts, or I get too bogged down in the world, I have to remember that story, because there's no way that 3 people had a collective hallucination. There's no way that the police could not find me. I was literally standing between those two columns, but nobody could find me.
Yeah. I'm sure.
So, my question is to Tony is like, what's going on at Hoover Dam? Because I heard they're trying to contact aliens and stuff.
Well, I mean, I honestly haven't heard much about Hoover Dam, but I was just looking it up, and there are a lot of. I'm showing some of the pictures of Masonic symbols.
Okay.
So definitely they had an influence in building that dam.
Okay.
So, but I've interviewed many people with the Knights Templar and the Masonic lodges and some of the higher ranking, and I mean, off air they even said there's a lot of things you'll never know unless you're like 33 and above ranking in the Masonics. So, but they come across that they're just a group of people, and I just believe they've been around. They've been around for thousands of years, and they do have a lot of knowledge that. And a lot of people say it's evil. Some people say it's just the history of our planet that they have hidden. But I mean, it's unless you just in there. I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard so many things about the Masonic Lodge, and I've even visited one because my grandfather was he wasn't a Mason, but he was a Odd Fellow, which is a off branch of the Masons.
Okay.
And my grandmother was a Rebecca, which is the women kind of version of the Odd Fellows.
The Odd Fellows.
Yeah.
Okay.
And but it's pretty interesting. But they do have a lot of power. There's a power of spirituality, and because they don't believe in one religion.
Okay.
In fact, the Knights Templar were there to protect the Pope, and then the Pope got jealous of the Freemasons because of their power, and that's when they went into hiding because the Pope ended up sending a hit out on all the Freemasons or the Knights Templar and pretty much try to wipe them out.
Wow.
That's why they distributed across Europe and even in.
Well, isn't that where we get Friday the 13th from?
Yeah, it actually is. It is.
Okay, do tell.
That was the day that the Pope put the hit out, and
that's why people think Friday the 13th is unlucky. The Knights Templar.
Oh,
out.
And that's when they changed. A lot of them changed to the Masons instead of the Freemasons or the Knights Templar because they wanted to kind of go into hiding.
Okay.
So, but it's a huge history, and it's very fascinating to hear the history of it. You should have a Mason on.
You know what? I want to now.
I think you would be really
fascinated. Yeah.
By it.
I'm fascinated by knowledge. Period,
right. And that's what I started, truth be told, because I'm a Sagittarius.
Okay.
And they are truth seekers, and I really wanted to start, truth be told, for the reason is knowledge.
Yeah.
And because the more you're knowledgeable, religions. I go to all. I've studied
Buddhist,
them. I've studied
them all. Study them all.
Because the more you realize all religions, the less power they have over you.
The less power. I mean, and it's power in knowing, and the opposite of the unknown. Like you were saying, some people call it evil. And what I've realized through my spiritual journey is that it's fear. Like you think basically you fear the unknown, and that's just across the board.
Across the board.
You're walking into a situation, you kind of don't know what's going to go on, what's going to happen, or it's your first time on stage, or your first time doing this. You're just fearing the unknown just because you're not aware of it. And I think that's when we start calling things evil, because the way it makes us feel on the inside. We're like, oh, I'm scared, so it must be something wrong, something bad. So I'm going to relate that to evil. But if you understand that demon, devil is something that we created to disassociate ourselves with something that we don't like. We don't like about ourselves. Like, oh, the devil did that. No, you did that. You did that. You just want to blame that on the devil because.
And I've interviewed many people that say that Satan was not evil at all. I've talked to many people that think Satan actually was not evil. He was actually someone that wanted to, or an angel that wanted to help. But that was just got a bad rap.
Let's get into that a little more.
I mean, I'd have to do a little more, but I've interviewed several people that said Satan is not who he thinks is.
Yeah.
But it's even Judas. If the book of Judas, there's a lot of in the Bible. If you go back, there's a lot of books that never made it to the Bible. That were written before many of the ones that they chose.
Right.
Because book of Rebecca, book of Judas, and Judas was told. I mean, in the book of Judas, he was told by Jesus to do what he did. So I mean, So there's a lot of things. That's why I said the more knowledge that people know, the more you can start making your own
conclusions and the belief that you want to believe, because it's just a thought you keep telling yourself. You know what? I wanted to play a little clip of the different people that have influenced you. Okay. So let's let the people know what you've been studying.
Okay, let me get this open here.
Was it Mrs. Weinrich?
Weinlich.
Weinlich. In the first grade, when you first...
I knew something. What happened was, she came in the room crying or something. I said, your son is going to be okay. He was in a car accident. He just broke his leg, but he'll be all right. And
this was in a Catholic school?
Catholic school, first grade. And later the principal came in, and she said, can I speak with you, please, to the teacher? Brought the teacher out, and indeed, this had happened. And she said to me afterwards, would you please stay after school? I need to talk to you. And she said, everything you said is true. And I started crying. And she said, that's okay.
Because you started crying because you thought you had caused it to happen.
I caused the accident. And she said, no, God gives certain people gifts of these things, and you're blessed with this. You'll help people one day with it.
And we're talking about her new memoir, Psychic, My Life in Two Worlds. Thank you so much for being with us. I know we sort of bombarded you in the makeup room.
Yes, she's already given a couple readings this morning, impromptu, which, I kind of would love to start there. When did you realize that you had this gift of
Well, see, I come from 300 years of them, psychics. I mean, actual working psychics. But I don't remember at 3. They told me at 3 I started showing it. But at 5 I knew, because I actually looked across the table and saw my great-grandmothers, and I...
Was it Mrs. Weinrich?
Yeah. I just wanted them to, know who they talking to and why you talking the way you talk, and how you feel why you feel the way you feel, and all those things, your influences. And we're going to dive into it. I wanted to, I was supposed to do this at the top of the hour or the top of the show. So I told you guys each month we were going to bring you a different Irish whiskey. It could be whiskey. It could just be whiskey. You don't have to be Irish. It could be Scotch because it's from Scotland. See, I learned that. I'm learning. Okay. So my husband brought in this bottle, and these are things that will be pleasing to my palate. And I have a very soft palate when it comes to alcohol, I guess. And so these are Irish whiskeys that I can actually drink. So this is what this is all about. So what is this called, hubby? Really quick.
All right, so that's the kind of, and it's a single malt Irish whiskey. It's twin wood, meaning that it was aged in 2 different barrels. It's 14-year age, and the first barrel that was aged in was a bourbon barrel. So they brought some barrels from the States over to Ireland to age it in the first go-around, and then the second go-around is in a Oloroso sherry cask. So it has a little bit of a sweet, winey taste to it, finish, but obviously it's not an expensive one, but a very nice one, and it's an Irish whiskey that so it's a little bit smoother on the palate than say like some of the scotches or some of the other, like definitely the bourbons.
Okay, so we got this from Total Wine. This is where you can get it, and I don't know where else, but Total Wine. And let me just taste it. Let's have a toast. I don't want to drink alone. Got me up in here. Success Podcast 2020 Vision Drip the Mic Network, baby.
I'll do the drip.
Don't make me laugh while I'm drinking it.
Right.
It's nice. He taught me how to sniff it, right? Then you take a little.
Wet your lip.
Wet my lip.
No, with it.
Wet it with this. Okay.
And inhale through your mouth.
He set me up. I can't inhale like that. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Moving along. Okay. All right. So, Tony, we were into you and, the people that you've studied with and under, and your influencers. And so just tell me a little bit more what was it?
Eric Von Däniken.
Okay.
Or James, I'm sorry, James Van Prague.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Eric Von Däniken is actually he wrote the Chariots of the Fire, which had sold like 60 million. He's the one that started all the ufology. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, James Van Prague is a very well-known, one of the top psychics in the world.
Okay.
I had the fortunate to have him do a show on my network for about 2 years. And I learned a lot from James because James, when he's so effortless when he does his readings, and he is very confident when he tells you his visions and what he sees.
Okay.
So I just fell in love with him. I mean, I just fell in love with the way he worked with people, and it was very much with compassion, and he wasn't like because there's not a lot of people that do the negative readings, but sometimes you have to go there. But even when he did, it was very compassionate, and that's what I loved about him. And then the other lady, Sylvia Brown.
Yeah.
So Sylvia Brown was, I mean, if you don't know who she was pretty much the godmother of psychics of this generation.
Okay.
I never met her in person, but I had the fortunate to actually get a reading from her in the 1990s, about 95, 96. And the readings she gave me at the time, I was in my 20s. I lived in Kansas City at the time, and that's where she was from originally. And she was telling me that I would be doing what she was going to be doing. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm not a psychic? And she's like, no. She says, making a difference with your voice. Yeah. And I thought, well, I did want to be a singer. Right. And she said, no, I can see that, but I mostly see that you do it through talking. I seeing you doing something that's going to be very successful, about from like 30, 38, blah, 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 and just kept going. And it was like, oh, okay, you know, when you're that age, you're like, well, that sounds nice. But so about 35 or 32 is when I moved out here, but 35 is when things started happening, just organically.
Yes.
It was almost like it was meant to be, certain things meant to be.
Yeah.
In 2008, I was on a reality show.
Oh, okay.
Called The Gospel Dream.
Okay.
I auditioned out here, and the only reason I auditioned out here was for my nephew. He wanted to be a singer, and I wanted to be a singer. I love to sing. And he said, Uncle, he lived with me at the time out here, and he said, would you go on this audition with me? And I was like, on where? And he's like, on The Gospel Dream. And I was like, no, you do it. And he's like, I'll do it if you do it. I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, I ended up making the top 3.
Oh, wow.
I went to Nashville, competed. There was 16 people. I didn't win, which I think it was a blessing. And that's how all this got started. And I changed my whole direction in life, my voice. It wasn't my singing. Well, the singing started it, but the voice started the direction. And that's why I said, wow, this woman was so good.
Yes.
And, sometimes when people give you readings, it doesn't seem real, or it doesn't seem like they're even close to what. Yeah,
or either they didn't dig deep enough, or something is very surface.
But then as time goes on, and then things start to unfold, that's when you're like, oh my gosh, wow, that was right on the money.
Right.
And that's why it's always good to go back and validate for the, not necessarily the psychic wants to be validated all the time, but it's good to go back. But it was unfortunate that she passed away, but before I got to give her a validation.
So say her name again.
Sylvia Brown.
Sylvia Brown. And then Edgar Casey.
Well, Edgar Casey, I mean, is like Mandisa
as well. But I wanted to bring up a similarity. Yeah. So one thing I realized, or when I was doing my homework or research on them, remember Edgar Casey? Didn't he have a huge case of laryngitis? Remember when he first got his gift, or when he first started realizing his gift to go into a trance. Remember, they were hypnotizing him and putting him in a trance, and he was
a healer, a big time healer,
and he was prophesying first. Well, he had gotten a very strong case of laryngitis where he just really couldn't speak, and then when he went into the trance, he could speak, and so that's when he realized, okay, this is a healing. This is not only a spiritual, connection and awakening for others, because I'm giving, I'm prophesying over others, but it's also a connection and a healing for me. Like I was saying, when God, blesses, everyone gets some on them. And so, but his voice was, was really, was gone. And then it would, after that, it would come back, it would go and come back and go and come back until eventually I think he just had to allow it and believe it and believe that it was cured and that it wasn't going to be that way anymore. So eventually he got his voice back. But along the way, he had got a bad case of laryngitis. So I'm sorry, you said say her name again,
Sylvia Brown.
Sylvia Brown. Her voice. I was going to ask you.
It's very raspy.
I was going to add
like she smoked all the time.
Right. Do you think there is a connect? Because for me, I noticed my voice is getting deeper and deeper and deeper.
Right.
And I'm sure there's a lot of other things and a lot of singers, a lot of like first soprano singers, our voices are really deep. Our speaking voices are deep. You know,
Right.
Mariah Carey, Beyonce, you know
Right.
what I mean? Alicia Keys, you know what I mean? We all sing very high, but you know, our speaking voice is very deep. So I know that's there. And some other things, you know. You know, but I notice as I go deeper and deeper in the spirits, like my voice is just getting heavier and starting to change and starting to get deeper. And sometimes there, you know, it feels like there's other energy. Like to me, I always feel like I have the energy of my grandmother on my mother's side, which I never met. I never met either one of my grandparents once I was born. Both sets of parents had already passed away. So I never had grandparents. Always missed it, wanted it badly, but never had it. But I always felt like my grandmother on my mother's side has been around me. And, you know,
Did she have a raspy voice too?
I don't know. I don't know. But it feels like she's a older, deep voice woman, and she likes to rock me a lot, and she likes to sing Negro spirituals. No, but she like, you know.
But I think that's what it is.
Yeah,
it's the tone.
Yeah.
It's almost like a chant
Yeah.
in a way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I was just seeing, was there any similarities that you noticed, or was there something to that, you know?
I don't know, and Mandisa might be able to answer some of that. But I know Sylvia, like her son now kind of took over, but it's not the same. Like, you know, even though he passed on the trait of psychic, and he's really good, it's not the same as her. Like he's, you know, normal voice, but I mean, Mandisa, do you notice that
our voice changing as the deeper we go into spirit?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I have a high, squeaky cartoon voice. But when I'm doing this work, boy, I feel it really deep down in my cavity, my chest cavity.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's
I
something.
just think probably more access to the lower chakras and integrating that energy.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I can see that. I'll have to look into that more. But I know. I mean, I don't know if have you ever been out to the over by Palm Springs, it's a dome, Integratron. Have you ever been there?
No.
Oh my gosh, you need to go.
Okay.
I had the chance to go out there once. It's a portal.
Okay.
Whoa. And it's a portal. It's in the middle of the desert.
Okay.
And they built this one. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was visited by aliens. And when he built this dome out in the middle of nowhere, it's a sound bath.
Wow.
And so
that's beautiful. Oh my God.
I have to my experience when I went, you climb up these stairs. It's all wood inside. You lay on the floor in the mat, and if you're in one corner on the right, if you just whisper, you can hear. Everybody can hear you. It's the craziest thing. But they start playing bowls, and it is that.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, everything starts to wobble, and your body starts to vibrate. I thought, you know, I'm not a skeptic about things because I'm pretty open. But I was like, my ADD's gonna. It's not gonna allow me to. I started having visions. I saw aliens. I saw lights because the lights would change with the vibration, and it is. Maybe that's the voice too.
Yes.
You know, the voice is a vibration, and I don't know. This voice. Do you think the vibration can attract more?
I believe so.
Spirit?
I believe so. I mean, because when we're singing, you know, we're tapped in. We're tapped into that.
Oh,
you know,
absolutely.
Yes,
True.
you know, we're
absolutely because that's the science of mantras. That's the whole science that mantras are built on. Is sending those certain vibrations, and the cells react to those vibrations, and then that's what helps with the healing.
Yes. Yes.
Well, even Nikola Tesla said, if you want to understand the universe, it's energy, frequency, and vibration.
Right.
Ooh.
Right.
Yeah, I like that. Energy, frequency, and vibration. Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of that.
Yeah.
I want to play a song. This one is called How I Feel. This is a song off of my second album that was released in 2010 called How I Feel. So I wrote this song. You might remember this song, Mandisa. Let's take a listen.
As I look around, I see destruction in the family, and it's not the way it's supposed to be, 'cause it started with you and me. I turn on the radio, and I don't hear the love no more. Tell me, where did all our heroes go? There's a reason why I sing the song. I think we haven't gone too far, and the journey on our road is so long. But I don't give up the fight, trying to search out the light. I see so many things that make my heart weary. Tell me, can we get together? Let's stop this fury. I don't know about you, but this is how I feel. 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 I don't know about you. This is how I feel. I thought this music would save our lives, help us get through it, help us fight the fight. But you misconstrue it and verbal abuse it. Why can't we use it to save the children? You know we got a work to do. You know we gotta put them through school and teach them things they'll never learn in the classroom. I see so many things that see so many things. Oh, it makes my heart weary. And I don't know about you, but this is how I feel. Yeah. This is how I feel. But I don't know about you, baby. You know that life is getting too broke. You know we got a torch to carry on. The economy just ain't right. Help each other win this fight. I hope it doesn't take too long to work it all out, 'cause you know we went wrong. Yes, we did. The children need to slow down some, figure out where they came from. And the media makes it so damn hard. They show up as money, they show up as love, they show up as cars, y'all. Equals love, y'all. They think it equals love, y'all. Hey, what happened to the gas today? How much oil do we really need to take? Now I'm sitting here holding my breath. I'm tired of seeing all this dead. You may not even like this song, but my
90 seconds.
Are you willing to disrupt any form of what you know? Are you willing? Are you willing to reinvent yourself? Are you willing? Are you willing to become someone you've never seen before? Are you willing to run, leap, and soar, even at the possibility that you might fall? Are you willing? Are you willing to do something you've never done before, say something you've never said before, do the things you don't want to do, say the things you don't want to say, so that you can be the man, the woman you've always known yourself to be?
And know that your attention to what you're wanting, no matter what's in that blank, will always give you immunity. And that there is no greater virus than fear. In other words, there are the thing that is happening around this is that it is activating clarity of desire within most individuals. And that clarity of desire has summoning power that is so beneficial.
Are you?
Yeah.
10 seconds.
So that was my collage of, the things that influenced me. First was song. And then the different people that I like to listen to, Abraham Hicks, Lisa Nichols. And these two ladies, they've helped me realize a lot of things and helped me reach higher heights. So, it's about that time for us to close out. It's, about a minute to the hour. And I would like it if we can take a little blurb from Mandisa, as well as Tony, and as well as myself, and close it out. Let's leave them with something uplifting, Mandisa.
Well, I would just like to remind everybody that you are as unique as a snowflake, and to stop following the crowd and start looking deep into your birth chart and get on your spiritual journey. It's going to be the most exciting, adventurous, epic adventure you'll ever be on. Wow. And yeah, it's scary, but it's so much more fun than just being a regular person living to pay bills. Find your power.
Yes. Very well said. I love that. Amen. Tony, our man that's holding us down in the studio, engineering, and being a special guest.
Well, first, thank you so much for having me on your show.
Thank you.
It was great. I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed your interaction with Mandisa. That was great. And I encourage everybody to be a Sagittarius, be a truth seeker.
Yes.
And because I always say that the truth, the old saying is the truth shall set you free. Yes. And it is true.
Yes.
And people used to say, you're weird because the stuff the people you interview, the things you research, but who wants to be normal?
Yes.
And that's what makes us all unique.
Yes.
It's just our interest, and for me the truth itself is always going to come out on top. So just love each other, love on each other a little bit more. And thank you again for letting me be on your show.
Oh, thank you. I had a wonderful time with both of you guys. I couldn't wait for this show. I knew it was going to be uplifting and spiritual, to say the least. I knew we were going to bounce ideas back and forth. And I knew we were going to grow from this experience, and that's what I, have been excited about when it comes to this show. Mandisa, it was an honor to read, to interpret what your mother had to say to you. It was very emotional and very heartfelt, and I learned a lot from it. As I told you before, when they come or when I go to them, they always say to me, "Don't think you're going to just come over here, get some information and take it back and not connect with us." They want connection too. That's what they're doing. They're seeking connection. They want to be acknowledged, just as if they're physical in their physical presence walking around here in this day and time. They want that acknowledgement from us. In other words, they want that love from us. They want us to acknowledge ourselves, which acknowledges God, which is acknowledges connection, because once we all come together as one, then we are source. We are infinite intelligence, and we are all powerful. And if we move in that power, things like this virus or whatever doesn't have to happen. That's somebody else's will. We're way too powerful to let someone else's will dictate our lives. So I thank you for being here, and I thank you for allowing me to peek into your life a little bit and share it with the world. The goddess that you are.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday, Mom. Tony, again, I thank you for, indulging us and sharing your show with us. The only thing you didn't get to do is tell when they can see your show, what time, and all of that.
Well, it's usually on Fridays. Sometimes it's throughout the week when our guests can do it. But our show is just a big group of things. It's paranormal, UFO, conspiracy theory, true crime. I mean, we do it all, and we do it because we love it. And you can go to our YouTube channel, just type in Truth Be Told. It's usually on the first page if you do it. And go to iHeartRadio, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
And I appreciate you guys following us and helping support us.
All righty.
So.
Mandisa, when can they find you?
Well, you can find me on Blog Talk Radio on the Mandisa Effect.
Yes.
And if you're interested in a reading, you can email me at eosdawn, EOSDAWN 23 @gmail.com.
Wonderful. And I just want to tell the people, love, life, and light. I hope today you have gotten your spirits uplift. I hope you've gotten more information. This was just a show to just, wet your whistle. It was to tantalize your taste buds with curiosity. I want you guys to dig deep, and I want you guys to do your research. But most of all, I want you guys to research inside of self. That's where you're going to find all the answers. Anybody can put something on Google. Anybody can make a YouTube video. Any church can, have a preacher to tell you how you should live. But it's you and God that is the real connection. And when you go inside and commune with God, then you are everything. So love, life, and light to everyone. You have been listening to Drip the Mic Network 2020 Vision. My name is Amira the Songstress. You can find me on IG, Facebook, YouTube at Amira the Songstress. And remember, stay focused.
No regrets, no regrets, no regrets. Let me fix my crown, baby. Like dominoes, yeah, it's going down. My feet off the ground, elevated. You feel my soul when you hear my sound. And I don't know why you're like a red light that don't ever change. And you should know